A Biden-Harris account dropped a brutal ad mocking Trump's brain glitches that are becoming all too common. Donald Trump often criticizes Joe Biden for not being sharp. He calls him everything under the sun in relation to that. Well, especially in recent months, Donald Trump has had one brain glitch after another, struggling to get through speeches on the regular. So now Joe Biden's campaign is calling it out. They released an ad on Twitter, or X, that is simply a compilation of just a few of Trump's recent moments. And believe it or not, there are some important implications of this that I'll break down after the video. But take a look at this, brutal to watch, and it's captioned, "Is Donald Trump okay?"
So we have the worst education almost in the large world, the world that people know about.
Leading political opponent, and leading by a lot, including Obama. I'll tell you what.
What you're doing, the terrorism. Viktor Orban. Did anyone ever hear of him? He's the leader of, right? He's the leader of Turkey. And just in conclusion, Sioux Falls. Thank you very much, Sioux Falls. So Sioux City, Hezbollah, and Hamas, communists and markets. You know, you have voter ID to buy a loaf of bread. We're drowning in this water you're standing up. We're going to turn Christmas around. Remember, the department stores they refused to use the word Christmas.
Obama he doesn't want to talk about it.
Well, you mean President Biden. So
we'll get to the 2024 implications of what we just watched. But first, it really does put it into perspective. Tell me more, MAGA, about Biden's gaffes. I do understand there are real and understandable concerns about Biden's age. Absolutely. I'm not saying you're crazy for having those sorts of feelings. But number one, that shouldn't prevent you from voting against Donald Trump. And number two, let's just think about this for a second. Did Biden's gaffes get in the way of him passing the largest investment in infrastructure since the Eisenhower Highway Program? No. Or the largest investment in green energy in American history, predicted to create millions of jobs. Or doing something that Clinton, Obama, and Trump promised to do and failed, allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices, actually finally lowering prescription drug prices for seniors. Or does gaffes get in the way of the most student loan forgiveness than any other U.S. president? Or they get in the way of the PACT Act, the Chips and Science Act, the American Rescue Plan, not to mention the job growth and stunning GDP growth as of recently after an economic downturn that took place before he got in office. All these different things. I think you get the point. But his gaffes didn't get in the way of those. So you aren't crazy for being concerned about Biden's age, but let's sort of put into perspective a little bit. I think that's important. Now, this is really interesting because more mainstream media is starting to discuss the fact that Trump's brain glitches makes it really hard for him to continue saying credibly that Biden doesn't know where he is, especially when Trump literally didn't know where he was the other day. Here was a CNN anchor making this point.
Former President Trump, of course, mocks President Biden for his age. Maybe he should think twice. We'll have more on that. Plus, inflation, abortion, the southern border, all major policy issues that are likely to dominate the 2024 presidential race. But of course, this time around, we have a specific, unique one, and that is age. Former President Donald Trump, he's only 3 years younger than President Biden. But it's an issue for voters, President Biden's age, and Donald Trump has gone right ahead mocking the current president over it.
So he's totally incoherent. And he goes, thank you.
Okay, here's the thing, though. Trump himself, not immune to making mistakes that could be attributed to his age.
Well, thank you very much, and a very big hello to a place where we've done very well, Sioux Falls. Thank you very much, Sioux Falls. So, Sioux City, let me ask you. You know, I was very honored as a man. Viktor Orban. Did anyone ever hear of him? He's probably like one of the strongest leaders anywhere in the world, and he's the leader of, right? He's the leader of Turkey.
Notably, Viktor Orban, not the leader of Turkey. He is the prime minister of Hungary.
And that's exactly right. Trump has now confused Obama for Biden multiple times. Come on. You should know who the US president is. Oh, I don't know, if you're running for president. And if Trump is going to constantly say, Biden can't get through 2 sentences, it would be helpful if he could get through a couple himself. We also, in recent days, saw reporting from the New York Times. One of Donald J. Trump's new comedic bits, the New York Times writes, at his rallies features him impersonating the current commander-in-chief with an over-the-top caricature mocking President Biden's age. With droopy eyelids and mouth agape, Mr. Trump stammers and mumbles, he squints, his arms flap, he shuffles his feet and wanders laggardly across the stage. A burst of laughter and applause erupts from the crowd as he feigns confusion by turning and pointing to invisible supporters as if he does not realize his back is to them. By the way, that clip that went mega viral, I talked to people, oh no, Biden, he doesn't know where he is. I saw that clip, but he's pointing, he's waving his hand at people who aren't there. That's because they cropped the clip. You can see off the frame, there are people waving at him and he's waving his arm, pointing at them. It looks like he's sort of shaking nobody's hand because he's pointing his hand at the people that are off the frame. They cropped it purposefully. Anyways, that one really bothers me. Continuing, but his recent campaign events have also featured less deliberate stumbles. Mr. Trump has had a string of unforced gaffes, garble, and general disjointedness that go beyond his usual discursive nature and that his Republican rivals are pointing to as signs of his declining performance. So the fact that this is becoming a story in the media more broadly is really important because most likely it will be Donald Trump versus Joe Biden again in 2024. And if that's the case, we don't want people thinking it's reasonable to stay home or, God forbid, vote for Trump because of their concerns about Biden's age. It would, of course, be wonderful to have someone who could continue on some of these achievements of Biden, but was of the next generation. That would be great. But likely that won't be one of our choices in 2024. And politics is all about choices. So I think ads like what we just watched are really beneficial to putting the Biden age conversation into the proper context. Before you go, don't forget to become a member at lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That gets you the daily bonus show Monday through Friday. By the way, if you're watching this outro at the end of every video and you're like, wow, one day maybe I'll become a member, today is the day, people. Plus, follow me on Threads at Luke Beasley Official, Instagram at Luke Beasley Official, Twitter or X at Luke P. Beasley, and sign up for the Beasley Brief, a daily morning newsletter summarizing the previous day's events by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/brief. And I'll talk to you next time.